All right, good morning, everybody. The date is June 4th, 2024. The time is 9:30. This is the Tax Committee, Planning and Zoning. Can I have a roll call, please?
Geiger.
Here.
Hughes.
Yep.
Whitlow.
Here.
Ducat.
Yes. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Can I get a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same signs. Motion passes. Can somebody approve the claims?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second? Any further discussion on the claims? Roll call, please.
Geiger.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Ducat.
Yes. Public comments. Anybody have any public comments today? All right, we'll move on from public comments. Reports from the departments. We'll start with our county clerk.
We rolled to the treasurer last week as far as wrapped up extension, got rolled over there on
Congratulations.
Tuesday. Do what?
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I believe they are planning on having bills mailed out with due dates of July 12th and September 12th, as long as they don't have any issues during printing and that sort of thing. We're also working on election judge lists. We need a minimum of 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats in each polling place. There are 37 polling places throughout the county. We have 19 precincts that have 1 or less of Democratic representation, and 11 precincts have 2 or less of Republicans. So that means we don't have enough judges. So those will be coming to county board in July. So if you know anyone that you think could be interested, have them contact our office. Paul, your mom's usually really good at finding us judges in the Clifton Trevance area. So, and those are actually precincts that are good. Last thing, we are going to be sending our permanent vote by mail letters out on or near August 7th. What those are is the reminder to anyone that has not signed up for permanent vote by mail that they can sign up for permanent vote by mail. Not something I want to send out, something I have to send out, and it has to go out before the general election. So if anyone is not interested in receiving the letter, we have to have a signature from them requesting that we do not send any more permanent vote by mail information to them. We can't just take a verbal, please don't send me this. So that will probably be part of the letter that goes out, so we can maybe cut down on some of those costs for the next time you have to send it. Other than that, that's about all we have.
Any questions? Again, thank you for rolling. Congratulations being done. Treasurer, Kurt, you're up.
We're in the process right now, we're on the phone with DevNet, working on getting tax bills generated and trying to get them to the printer sometime this week, so that way they can be mailed out very shortly. Other than that, I did check on the question about the 1% sales tax for grocery stores. But last 2 weeks or whatever, when I was down at the IACO conference, and I talked to the gentleman from the Department of Revenue, and he basically told me that that will not affect the county, because we don't collect any of that money anyway. It goes to the municipalities that those grocery stores are in. So I mean, we have a grocery store that's out of a municipality, like out the country, that the county would get the tax from, then that would affect us. Otherwise, 1% does not affect the county, because we're not getting either. So it'd be like the city of Watsika or any of the villages that have grocery stores. They would be the ones who would be affected.
Thanks, Kurt. You'll have a better deadline at the county board meeting, maybe, when it'll be mailed out.
Well, like, they're hoping to mail them out next week, so.
Okay.
I don't want to give you a permanent date, because I don't want anybody to get.
I know how it works. I just want to
We've already got enough phone calls.
as much of advancement as we can. Does anybody have any questions for Kurt? All right, thank you. We'll move on to assessments. Yes.
Yeah, I just have a few things, and I apologize, I didn't get in here sooner to pass these out. Just wanted to let everybody know we are going to appoint a new Farmland Assessment Review Committee member, Howard Lloyd at the county board meeting next week. I was informed last week from Diane in Brian's office that Dennis Ballmer had resigned to Louise back in January. Don't have.
You and him, I'll get that.
Okay. So one of my members had resigned, so we'll get Howard Loy appointed. We're going to reappoint Board of Review member Brad Cosgrove. Brad is at Springfield today taking his exam, which is a requirement, so I didn't want to reappoint him until he had done that, so that'll be done this month, assuming he passes. Part-time Deputy Clerk Jasmine Davis is working about 3 days a week in our office, helping to sketch properties into the DevNet CAMA, which is moving right along. We have finished sketching the residential class 40s in the Milford multi-township, so Lovejoy, Prairie Green, Milford, and Stockland. Not pushing any of these values through, it just means we're sketching it, and once everything's done, we can push the values through. We're moving on to Douglas Township because they have a high COD next. I did have one township assessor reach out to me asking for us to do an intergovernmental agreement for the townships to pay us to sketch the properties, which is kind of opposite of what they were suggesting at the beginning, which was that the county pay them to sketch their properties, which I don't have any problem doing that other than the time commitment involved in it. You know, we can generate revenue for the county, but it's gonna slow me down if we have to do all of that. But the flip side of it is, you know, it's being done right if my office is doing it. So I guess we can talk on, you know, keep that discussion going on whether we'll do it. On the backside of this is a copy of the state statute regarding publication of assessments. So in starting to look at my budget, I realized that the budget for publication is quite large for my office. And that is a result of, in the past, I have been publishing in Ford County Chronicle, the Gilman Star, the Advocate, Iroquois County Times Republic, and the Cissna Park News. I kind of like to keep talking about this before assessment publications have to go out in the fall to decide, you know, if this board would be okay with me reducing that to one publication. It would help reduce some of the costs, but the flip side of that is some of these are smaller newspapers, they're local newspapers. I don't want to upset anybody, you know, this may be what's keeping them going. So I want to have a discussion, you know, so just kind of keep in mind that that's something I'd be leaning towards doing if, you know, I have the blessing of this board. I did talk to Jim Devine. They only use the Gilman Star for sole publishing purposes, and they use it because it is a newspaper of general circulation and it is more cost effective than the Times Republic. So that's kind of all I had.
I do. Sketching, how's it coming?
Pretty good. We're a little over 1,000 right now. So that's that Milford multi-township.
What's your grand total number you're looking at?
Well, the residential class 40s are about 12,500. So it's a slow process. I mean, it doesn't happen quickly. You know, you have to get all the cards, you have to try to read, you know, faded information, look at the Eagle View. You know, it's pretty time consuming process, so.
I just want to make sure the board had information on it.
Yep. And I put that in here that, you know, we just finished just this week, the Milford multi-township class 40s, so.
Thank you.
One more question. Are you being able to use the comparison of, I think somebody provided your office the comparison of the before recent pictures to the current pictures?
Right, that's what I'm saying, and that's why, you know, we have got, you know, most everybody, well, actually everybody I think has 2 monitors now so that they can pull up DevNet CAMA, they have the Eagle View so they can see everything, and in comparing it to, really we're comparing it to the paper records is what we're comparing it to. And we're kind of highlighting like big differences that we're seeing, you know, and what's missing type of thing, so.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mia. Move on to planning and zoning, Julie. We get discussion and action on the building code ordinances.
Wanna do that, or you want me to start with my general information that I have, or how do you wanna do that?
We have first up, discussion and action on the building code ordinances.
Okay. All of you have, copies of the, 4 ordinances that it was, in the last county board meeting, it was put back that they needed to be gone over and resubmitted. Doug, Paul, John, I copied all of you onto the email from Jim Devine stating that he was blessed with giving his blessing for how I did this.
I'm confused, maybe John could help us. We have the regulations, the policy committee asked us to look at. Do these replace what's in there, or we just don't want to change the wording of?
This should replace what's in. That's why all of the sections match up with the current code book and everything.
I can read all this out loud if you want me to, or we can just.
I guess I got confused on looking at the book, looking at this, the more numbers on here, section 101.4.3, plumbing, but I don't see it in our current regulations.
I'm not following you, I'm sorry, Doug.
So it's not currently in our,
Plumbing was approved, I wasn't asked to do plumbing in the county board meeting.
Right, but that's why I just got confused on, yeah, how it.
Which specific ordinance are you looking at? Doug?
Well, I'm looking at the page, it says Iroquois County Building Ordinance. And then it says chapter 8, articles 2, building code, section 19, 20, 21, and 22. Backside, I see 19, and on our book, I see section 8, 19, International Building Code adopted. But then in your
The
handout,
section 101.4.3 is actually comes from the 2021 building code. That's why I had to reference it.
so what's, I'm not arguing, but just for information, what's the point of putting the 101.4.3 plumbing in amongst the 819? Because it doesn't currently exist in there.
because I think she's explaining that section 101.4.3 plumbing, it actually says the provision of the most current edition of the Illinois State Plumbing Code shall apply. She's basically putting it in there so we know what it is, instead of saying just,
It's been over here on,
Insertions, deletions, and changes are hereby made, and the following below it.
that's what was in policy and procedure.
yes, that's what came out, and I was just trying to just intertwine them.
Oh, okay, same from last time.
Yeah, so that's, I mean,
So what I see here, Julie, is you're wanting to update what we have currently to what we need to have. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes, please.
Does it make
Because
sense?
that's what was put before me, is to update as to how it should be.
Taking what's in policy and procedure there, just to be updated.
But at the board meeting, it'll be effective immediately.
Yes.
And what about the plumbing code that appears in Article 4 of our current policy, talks about the state plumbing code adopted by reference. But I don't see any
I
instructions.
wasn't asked to do plumbing on this. Plumbing was approved at the last. If you would like me to redo plumbing to match this, I can do so.
Well, I don't know what we need to do so that we, what's intended, so.
You have to go by the current state plumbing code.
Yes, and it's ever changing, so yeah.
If we just say that, isn't that sufficient?
And that's, I think she said. we
Yes,
did
that was
last
approved at a
board
county
meeting.
board. The 4 that are in front of you is what I was asked to resubmit.
No, that's right. And then the new plumbing code in here will be adjusted, or should be adjusted based on the last county board meeting.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anybody?
I think so. Also, you had concerns then about, or somebody had concerns about using containers for housing.
It's,
It's spelled out in here
uh-huh,
well enough.
Section, start to section 101.1 or section R3011.4. Under Iroquois County Residential Code, back page.
Right, okay. That's there.
She has section R301.1.4, intermodal shipping containers, delete its entirety. That way we don't have to worry about anybody locking down shipping containers. And
Right, a little bit. We gonna do these all at once, or we wanna?
I think it'd be smart to do them all separately. I just want to read. Just get all that in there. Give me 1 minute, Julie, please.
I'm sorry?
I said, just give me 1 minute.
Oh, you're fine.
Really good, thank you. Property maintenance is under good.
I was a little crazy trying to make sure I was thorough on all of this. Our state is blessed with some wonderful zoning administrators and they have helped me a lot in this.
I'm ready if further discussion on the motions separately.
I make a motion then that we adopt the Iroquois County Building Ordinance. Given today, included in our packets. Okay.
Any further discussion? All right.
Geiger,
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes. Motion passes.
Electrical one,
Yes, sir.
yeah, look at it.
Yes, sir, I have.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the Iroquois County Electrical Code Ordinance that was given in our packet today.
Any further discussion? All right.
Geiger,
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes. Motion Iroquois County Residential Code.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion?
Geiger,
Yes.
Hughes. Whitlow.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes. Passes. Iroquois County Property Maintenance Code. You want to make a motion on?
I'll second it.
Further discussion, go ahead.
Geiger,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Passes to accept the Iroquois County Property Maintenance Code. It's been passed. Thank you, Julie.
Yeah.
Do your work. Move on to discussion and action on rezoning A1 to RH1. So, Mr. and Mrs. Padella.
We'll have, the worksheets I did, for this. In my opinion, it's pretty cut and dry. You may have difference of opinion, but I believe it's pretty cut and dry. Unfortunately, we didn't have a quorum for CBA hearing, but, the nuts and bolts of it is that they have purchased a parcel from a larger parcel from Mr. and Mrs. Storm, which are parent and in-law. And we just want to build a home on it. And so, but according to county code, we have to do a rezoning from A1 to RH1.
I looked at that packet, 90-page packet that
That did.
provided,
Mm-hmm.
and he marked circled severe for the soils.
He said 95% of Iroquois County is gonna come up like that.
And just, have you done a percolation test for your septic system?
Yeah, we did both perk as well as the soil analysis too.
And everything's okay for that?
Yeah.
Oh, because reading this, I'm
Yeah, it's-
totally confused.
It contradicts what the soil sample does actually.
Oh, good, okay. And then the 100-year floodplain, 500-year floodplain, just friend to friend. One page it says you're in it, one page it says you're not in it. So you're happy and,
Yeah, it's because
There's a large enough distance.
yeah, okay.
And then once I get, the letter from environmental health stating that the proposed site for well and septic is approved, then, and only then, after that, will we be issuing the building permit, but I have to have that first.
I make a motion that we rezone that property. Is it?
RH1.
Propose it from A1 to RH1.
Yeah. I drove by it. Looks like it's a nice place to put a home.
Any further discussion?
Geiger,
Yeah.
Hughes.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes. Motion passes. We'll have you get the full county board, the full county board meeting on Tuesday. And then,
At 9 AM.
after that, it should be good to go.
But then we'll be ready to
Thank you
roll.
both for coming. Congratulations.
Yep, you're, thank you.
Unless you want to sit through all this.
I don't know. I had to work so that I can pay this building.
Thank
Okay,
you.
folks. Discussion action on the wind permits.
Up in our board.
Hoping after we get done with this, hopefully down the line,
We're waiting on the signed agreement to come back from.
so we'll just keep the discussion action, the wind, solar, and the BS stuff for the next
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah.
Next is appoint a member of the tax planning zoning committee's representative for the East County. Yeah, if you got it, go ahead, you might as well do that.
Right.
I'm like,
Between-
I got a couple other things if you want to hear it. Okay, so for the month of May, we had 27 permits. 17 were building permits, 4 solicitors, which puts us at a grand total of 28. 1 ag, 2 of the rec campground renewals and 3 kennel license renewals. Those are coming in. I put in the letter for renewals that I think it's best to give them a deadline as to where there never was a deadline previously. So I put June 28th as the deadline for renewals to come in. So we collected a total of $12,900 for the month. After zoning fees and inspections, we have $8,670.72 to the positive. For the year, we have collected $58,437.28. So we're on the positive for covering any of our expenses, thankfully. I reached out to all of the various mayors throughout the county to see if they have in fact enacted an ordinance pertaining to the 1.5 miles for wind and solar. I'm still receiving some contradictory information on that. I'm hearing from some people that they do have a right to have an ordinance on solar within 1.5 miles, but then I'm hearing, no, they don't, they only have for wind. And so the only one that I've heard back from that is putting together an ordinance such as that is Watseka. I don't have a copy of it yet, as to John's been laid up with knee replacement surgery. So when I get that, I will share that with the board.
I have been speaking to my mayors also in my district, and letting them know about it too, so they know what's going on.
But everything else on my paper, except I have included you guys a copy of the draft of the spreadsheet to use for our conditional use requirements for solar. But like I said, it's a working draft. I have shared it with a couple of different companies and informed them that it is subject to change. But going through everything, these are my thoughts as for how and what we need to make sure that everything is in place prior to someone coming before a public hearing to make sure we have everything. That's all.
Questions?
I wonder, should we make it formal that this committee needs to formally accept a completed application before the clock starts ticking?
Well, on the sheet I have, update P and Z committee. So, I mean, I kind of have that in mind,
What I'm
but
saying
it's
is-
not formal.
What I'm
Right.
saying is, I don't know if we want to expose ourselves to the thought that they could bring in a pile of paperwork, send it on Julie's desk and say, there it is, I've turned it in. The clock starts.
No, that's kind of what the thought was, why I have this, so we can go a step at a time.
Well, I'm just saying that I just don't want them assuming
Right,
that it's turned in just because it's laid on your desk.
right.
And we don't have to decide that today, but I just don't want her getting backed into a corner. I don't know.
But you wouldn't be able to give the permit out
I'm sorry.
to start it.
No, the permit isn't given until it
Right.
goes to the county board,
Right,
but the clock starts ticking at 45 days
right,
when the application is accepted.
correct.
So what's the definition of accepted?
Yeah,
It's
it's
on her
accepting their paperwork, I mean, because there's really,
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
There's
We're gonna have to-
we're, yeah,
talk about it. But in the next 30 days, I just don't want somebody saying, well, I'll fix you,
Gotcha.
and I just wondered about that. Johnny, anything?
No, I think what you're suggesting probably has a lot of merit. I do think that one of the things that I have a lot of concerns about, though, is if we're gonna be accepting applications piecemeal.
Well, that's a good point, yep.
In my view, the application should be presented in its entirety.
I was wrong in talking to you about suggesting that we allow them to dump things in to give us an edge on looking at their volumes of paperwork. Maybe we should change our tunes to say we'd like all of them formally at one time. By giving this committee acceptance of, that gives us more time to look through all the pages. Is that fair? Then, is what I think, what your suggestion?
I don't know, I mean, in my mind, because all this is so new, that if I had some of it and then, I could go through it with them and then say, okay, you can set that aside, that we'll have that checked off, and that'll be one less thing we have to view before we submit. That's my mindset of it.
But that's really tentative approval to it.
I'm sorry, what?
Correct. That's what my fears.
That's what?
Well, I can let them know that this in no way says that it's going to be approved, but for appearance sake, it does appear that you have what we've asked for this section.
Actually, I think there's so many things involved in this subject that it's very difficult.
Yes, there's no black and
Any
white
kind of
here.
a policy, because we can certainly have a set of circumstances where you might have multiple applications all at once, maybe 10 or 15 of them suddenly show up and be overwhelmed.
Mhm.
On the other hand, if you have that many submitting things piecemeal and stuff gets put in the wrong file, or misplaced, then you have another problem. I just think it's much better to operate the way we always have in the past, of a complete application submitted at one time.
And when there's not enough of me to go through all of it at one time before the deadline, then what? What do we do?
I think that's an issue that has to be developed or determined at the time it happens. Because like I said, you could have 20 people, different companies come in all at once.
Yep, exactly.
There's no way that.
I'm not working 60 hours a week.
There's no way that you or this board could handle that kind of a load within a 45-day window. So to me, that's something that 45 days, I would think we need to look at that as, yeah, this is what we want to try and do. But it can't be viewed as an absolute.
You're only one person, Joy. We all know that.
Exactly.
Well, it doesn't say either what is the fine or how are we in trouble if we go past 45 days. So we try our best and do the right job.
And I just think the onus is on the applicant to prepare an application that conforms to our ordinance. It does what they want to do with whatever the project is.
So maybe this, will be basically just for my benefit. As I go through one thing, I can say, okay, yes, I've reviewed that.
It won't be bad once we get it finalized to give it to them so they know to check things off
Right.
and know how to organize it and everything else.
I think it's not only a checklist, it's still something we should all, I think definitely should be used. Really put a lot of effort into it. It's set up correctly. I think it should be used, but it's just a point of let's do it when we.
How to utilize it, where to utilize it.
Right, and John is right, a completed application is the best process. That way you're not getting 30 different things from 15 different people and people knocking on the door all the time wanting to have a conversation with you. You just need to. I expect the first 3 months to be pretty heavy with this.
It's
It's
already
been
been,
We'll get to it and we'll get through it.
So we have a checklist when we turn things into the state. for our abstracting, and it's given to the assessment office to say, here's what we need. You need to do all this, and if you don't, the time frame stops if we haven't completed it. So, because they don't want things piecemeal to them, so they give us the checklist, like, here, make sure you're sending all of this, because if we have to come back and request anything, your time, that time frame stops. So that might be something to look at is, can we stop at, 45 days if they haven't done something on there?
And that's why I was saying if the committee has to accept it formally at a committee meeting, that means Julie's had a time to check off all the checklists. They haven't brought everything.
And I'm saying give it to them so that they know that they checked, let them see what the checklist is and, have a mental note that they checked everything on there. Or some form of it, maybe not that exact one, but this is what we're requiring.
Julie? Thank you so much for everything. All right, good, the appointment. Remember the tax planning zoning committee's representative for the Clark Dees contract.
What do you think, Steve? You wanna do it?
Steve, I'd like to see Doug do it. He's working on the discussion and action of the wind solar ordinance, wind ordinance, and the BSF ordinance. I'd like to hopefully see open communication between him and John and also this board so we all know what's going on. I think we need to see emails open so we know what's being done during it. We'll have an understanding of what's going on. As soon as we get this, hopefully we can get the paperwork, contract signed between Scott and us.
Yeah, Clark beats us.
Yes, and then from getting that done, hopefully we can get a move on this. And then we can all sit down and go over the ordinances. And hopefully in July, I'd like to see all this done. And that's why, Julie, we're gonna have your back because it's gonna get wild west for about 90 days at least.
At least, like I have told you, P&E is burning up my phone, burning up my email, and I'm just like, I don't have any answers for you right now.
Julie, he's at our discretion. We're doing what we can what's best for the county. He's doing what's best for P&E.
Right.
And I understand that he wants to jump on this 6 months ago probably. But we need to do what's best for the people of Iroquois County, not only for the one that wants to put it in the ground or up in the air, but also for the people of all our districts.
One thing that's gonna slow this down, in my opinion, is that transmission line isn't to be built for, I think it's 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
That's gonna allow them to connect big time into the grid. Right now, they just have the little transmission line going through. We know Sheldon only has room for the 2 solar.
Community solar?
Yeah. So, which that word talking to Clark Dietz has no,
Variance at all?
our ordinances cover the community aspect. So anyway, the point is, and on our ordinances, we have that they have to start building 1 year after they get the building permit.
Okay.
So if they try to go through this, they're gonna have to start all over again because the transmission line isn't up and running. But they'll still be knocking on our door and we need to keep working away with us.
The ordinance which says that they have to give us a signed agreement with the power company, I think would include that they got the, hook up to the transmission line.
Exactly.
So if they don't have that, then their application isn't gonna be approved anyway.
And one thing you'll need to make clear for me is if they cannot get things done within the time frame that we have set in the ordinance, how far back, what additional fees will they be subject so I'll need clarification on that as well.
I'd also like to see after this,
Are you saying that they don't have the project done or started within a year?
Right, and they have fees already secured with us, and if they go beyond that year and they have to backtrack and restart, I need clarification to make sure what fees they will be subject to have to repay a second time.
I think that's probably a pretty difficult thing to put in black and white because every circumstance is gonna be different. If somebody is a month over the year or somebody's 10 years beyond, or, I mean,
Okay,
how can you cover all those things?
Talk to the board.
It's up to the
like I
board.
said, I'll just need some guidance on
Right,
what steps you want me to take on that, and,
right now, it's up to the discretion of the county board to
Okay.
do that, and I think that's probably the best way to leave it. Because of the fact that every situation is gonna be different. Circumstances will be different, timelines will be different, there's just no way to have a set deal, I don't think.
If technology changes, then, yeah.
all right, back to the discussion of appointment number.
I think Steve made a nomination, I don't know, I could be wrong.
Good, I think. All right, there's a motion, there's an appointment, I'll second that. Any further discussion on it? Roll call, please, I'm sorry.
Geiger,
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Dukenyak.
Yes. Motion passes. Doug will go ahead and be representing us to talk with Clark Dietz. Yes. All right, I would like, when we have our next meeting, Julie, I want you to meet Scott.
Yeah, I met him very briefly, but
Right,
yeah,
I'd like to have you have a sit down.
absolutely.
Makes sense.
Just let me,
Right.
just let me know so I can put it on my calendar.
I just want to make sure we're all working together. All right, discussion review on the county code book on building codes.
The ordinances take care of that, doesn't it?
Correct. Yes. Can't bug me no more for that. All right, any old business? Any new business? I get a motion. Can I get a second? All in favor, say aye. Motion passes. Thank you, everybody, for coming.